Hello, everyone. Clearly, I have proven that I am not a mad dictator who's going to take over this channel. So, I have gotten another chance at doing this. But you never know when it'll happen. You never know when the takeover is on. So it's gonna happen soon. Everyone, we're gonna come for Jose and Colin's jobs. The StreamYard passwords will be changed. There will be a regime change that is going to happen on Talk and Ball. And I will be reading it. I will be the mad, crazy anime villain. And they will be poor Gohan, sort of like fighting against Frieza. No chance whatsoever. It's gonna happen. It's on the way. Um, so let's see who do we have in the house. Um, Tommy G is here. Hi, Tommy G. Eugene is here. The other half of Chang's collaboration on Spurs Vision TV. Um, so yeah, so I today have a guest, or as Jose and Colin put it, I continue to have childminders so that I don't uh, take over the stream. And real adults need to be present in the room always. Speaking about real adults, Adrian is in the house. Hey, Adrian, how's it going? Good morning. Um, so yeah, as I was saying, Adrian, in Jose and Colin sort of arrange childminders for me every time I do one of these shows, because uh how can you be trusted without adult supervision? So today we have one of those childminders, and Tommy G is here, Adrian's here, Eugene is here. Can any of y'all guess who my childminder is? Blind guess. Let's go for it. Anyone? Duh. Has to be an adult. Hi, Shane. Shane, we're trying to guess who my guest will be. Oh, Eugene, you have insider information. This is illegal. It's insider trading. Doesn't count. Doesn't count. Oh, anyway, since it's been guessed, I will add him on. Here's the superstar himself. It is the Asian takeover. Talking ball is Asian now. Um, Chang, how's it going?
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Talk and Balls 11 a.m. UK Wednesday morning show here, which Miss Ash herself has mentioned very clearly that this is going to be an Asian talkover here, so a takeover. So, congratulations to Mr. Eugene, my super host for Spursuation TV, who's managed to tune in at this late Malaysian evening. It's 7:05 p.m. here in Malaysia. To everyone else all around the globe for tuning in, welcome each and everyone, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. If this is your first time here, we would really appreciate you dropping a like and also a subscription to the channel. You can also catch, let's see now, you can also catch El Tel Cocarel, Senior Jose Garcia himself, over at his own channel, which is El Tel Cocarel. I'm sure one of the administrators will put up his link, as well as Spursration TV, from which I will be hopefully be able to co-host in the near future with Mr. Eugene once he has sort of gotten his new abode all primed and fit for hosting shows in the near future. So we really look forward to seeing you over at Talk and Ball. But coming back over here to Talk and Ball, Miss Ash, I believe you had something to discuss with regards to financial fair play. Am I right?
Yeah, absolutely. That's what we're going to start our discussion with today. But before that, I do have to say hello to some uh G's in the house. Tommy G, not that kind of G, but Jose is the wrong answer. You failed. Nick Brown saying good morning. Hi, Nick. Um, Eugene is Eugene is showing guilt for his insider trading. Um, Norman Lamont is saying, "Good evening, Ash from Oz." How is it? What is the time in Australia right now? It must be almost same time as Chang, right? Like evening time.
Depending
Uh,
on their region, they could be somewhere anything between 9 p.m. to 10 p.m. Wednesday night.
uh,
So they are roughly about 2 to 3 hours ahead of Southeast Asia, depending on the region. If you're in Auckland or Sydney or anywhere else in the middle.
Absolutely. Shane is saying, "What do you guys think about our chances of beating City?" Chang beating City.
You want to answer that first, or should I go for it?
Go for it. Go for it.
Okay. Now, I did speak rather briefly on my previous Talk and Ball show with Senor Garcia and also Mr. Severs with regards to our chances of pulling off a result away against Manchester United about 3 days back, I think. Yeah, it was 3 days back. And uh, my prediction for City again will rest very heavily on the kind of players we're going to be fielding that day. Whether are we going to finally see James Madison back? Will we see another midfielder come in, hopefully to replace Giovanni Lo Celso if he is on his way out? Or even Pierre-Emile Højbjerg? Will there be a new midfielder, hopefully, to supplement Rodrigo Bentancur in midfield? Although, don't get me wrong, credit where credit is due. I have to give a shout out to none other than our very own Oliver Skip, who I thought was doing very well. He did very well on his part away at Manchester United. But coming back to this Manchester City, yeah, I think it's going to be down to who we feel that day and the kind of players that can really tip the scales in our favor, really give us that edge, that little advantage into trying to see off the game in the full 90 minutes the way we did against Bournemouth in the third round. So yeah, I think it's going to hinge greatly on who we feel. Although if we do start with the very same 11 as we did away against Manchester United in the league 3 days ago, I still fancy our chances in the fourth round of the late Friday night FA Cup fourth round at the new stadium. Although it also depends greatly on what kind of team Manchester City are going to feel against us. I can see both teams really going for it. Hopefully, with the proverbial 12-man home crowd uh, making all the noise at the new Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, that would certainly give the home team an edge. Although, again, don't be surprised if Big Ange has some tricks up his sleeves, so to speak, some aces up his sleeves if the likes of James Madison is available, whether he comes off the bench, whether he starts. I really do hope we see him at some point. So yeah, I'm really hoping for us to pull off a result against City at home. Although I would gladly take a draw right now. If I could take a draw and force a replay, and hopefully when the replay comes, we get better players or more first 11 teamers in our starting lineup, then maybe we can really go for it. And if we do beat City, I really fancy our chances to go all the way to the final and maybe even lifting our first FA Cup since 1991. What do you think, Miss Ash?
So I will tell you what I feel about this game. But first, I do have to say hi to a lot of people. Like I said, everyone, a lot of people have joined. It is the Asian takeover of Talk and Ball. Chang from Malaysia and me from India. We have taken over. Jose and Colin, y'all are out. Bye bye. It was nice knowing ya. Um, Eugene is saying, talking balls. Hiren's in the house. Hi, Hiren. How's it going? Deep Das is here. Hi, Deep. Um, Lee Smithy Smith is here. Big up Ash and Chang. Um, Adrian saying good morning to everyone else. Daniel E is in the house. Daniel E and I were having a minor disagreement about Brennan Johnson that we will come to soon. Um, Daniel Sandoval is saying one love to our chef from Bolivia. I can't pronounce it the way Jose does, but Chris Agumbar is here. Everyone's favorite Agumbar. Morning, everyone. Um, and Jose is here saying, "Good morning, the wonderful Ash and the superstar Chang. You have the keys. Keep our seats warm, please." Oh, they're getting warmed, all right. They're getting so warm that you won't. It'd be too hot for you to handle. Um, so Jose's back in the house saying the like button is here. Go ahead and hit it. Yes, everyone, the like button is there. The adults have pointed out that I must tell you this. Please like and subscribe. And if you can, grab a membership. Talking Ball is now monetized. And so memberships are available, super chats are available. So show your support however you like. But liking is free. So you should do that first. Adrian Chia's saying, "Big up A and C. Great to Asian fans giving their voice. Thank you for your support, Adrian Chia. And big up for the super chat. Thank you so much."
Can I just say something to this, Mr. Adrian Shah? Mr. Adrian Shah, this is Chang here from Malaysia. Pleasure to be able to finally greet you and to acknowledge you live on a stream. Can I just say I have been seeing you pretty much everywhere on YouTube, social media, whether it's on United Spurs of America, whether it's on Tottenham on tour, in which I saw Ash over an hour earlier with Brian Degu and some guests. I think I've seen you, Mr. Adrian, as well on Irish Hotspur and a few other channels like Tottenham on tour. No, that's not Tottenham on tour. That's Tottenham away, as well as Talk and Ball. So thank you very, very, very much for all your contributions, Mr. Adrian Shah, on all of these Spurs platforms. We really, really do appreciate your contributions and your input. And if you really have the time, I would really love to hear from you and also see you as well on Spursration TV, where both me and Mr. Eugene, from both of us who are from Kuala Lumpur here in Malaysia, we would really love to hear more from Spurs fans in Southeast Asia, not just Asia or America or even in Europe, but all of Southeast Asia. You could be in Singapore, Thailand, Indonesia, you could be from Vietnam, Cambodia, the Philippines, Laos, Myanmar, you name it. You're very, very welcome over to Spursration TV. But for now, let's just make do with Talk and Ball, and let's get straight into the topics of the day. Miss Ash.
Yeah. Tequila. I heard Tequila saying, "I heard Ash had an all-night party last night. I'll tell she's trouble, that one. You know it, Tequila. That radar is strong, my friend. Um, you know the Taylor Swift song "Trouble, Trouble." That's me. um. Oh, anyway, let's move on. Let's be serious. I'm told that this is a football stream, so we must do the talking of the football. So, Chang, I will ask you a question. And it's possible that nobody here knows the answer to this question. It's possible that nobody cares about the answer to this question. But do you know what a PSR is? And do you even care what a PSR is? And it's cool if and nobody knows
Okay,
because
PSR.
guess what the PSR is?
From
You know,
what
new.
I know, I think PSR, I have seen.
Guess the
Okay, over
acronym,
here in
everyone.
Malaysia, PSR actually, PSR, uh, PSR stands for Product Specific Rules.
Wrong.
Miss Ash, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Am I timing up? Oh my goodness, I think my stream is acting up.
Okay, chat.
Okay,
Anyone want to tell us
uh,
what PSR is?
product specific rules.
Sorry, Chang, could you repeat that? You cut off in the middle.
Okay, yeah, sorry. PSR, does it stand for product specific rules? Product specific rules, PSR.
Mm-hmm.
Then you got
Any
me there.
okay.
I have absolutely no idea what PSR means.
Tommy G saying pre-sentence report. I wish it was that, Tommy G. Um, Definitely not that. Anyone else?
Okay, I
There we
think I
go.
just
We have the goat in
correct.
the house.
Wow.
Adrian Shoka, the answer to all things Spurs, the expert who sits in his grand robe and passes judgment on the rest of us. Adrian Shoka, always with the right answer. Profit and sustainability rules. Um, and he goes on to explain here the European FFP rules allow clubs to lose under 50 million a year, which is more up to date and more in line with inflation. Whereas the Premier League means FFP means clubs can lose 35. Okay, Adrian, I will do it a little simpler than this. A little simpler so that everyone can understand. Um, where am I at? Here we go. So basically, the profit and sustainability rules are that clubs are allowed to, in the Premier League, lose up to 105 million over the course of 3 seasons, or 35 million per season, right? And so what happens is, uh, unfortunately, clubs like Forest, when they were in the championship, they were only allowed to lose 61 million, as opposed to a Premier League club that was allowed to lose much more money, like 35 million more money during that time. So really what happens is these rules, instead of encouraging profit and sustainability, oftentimes discourage profit and sustainability for a club that's coming up from the championship, because the amount that they can lose is reduced by 22 million. Did everyone understand that? Tell me if you're confused.
Honestly, I
And
think
because
this will take some time to digest, but I pretty much see where this is coming from and how FFP or PSR comes into play when you are trying to evaluate a club's financial standings and whether they are making a loss or a profit. In this regard, whether it's player sales, player purchases, what do you call this? The ticketing sales and marketing and such like. Uh, but with regards to FFP, I think it's a very fine line right now to clubs that have knowingly and objectively tried to so to speak, like get around the rules, try to find loopholes within this FFP to work around the system and either bring in players or sell players or do things that would otherwise be a breach of these FFP rules. Uh, Wow, I think this is a tough one to actually go direct into. And this is one of those few times which I really wish someone like Mr. Sroka was around to educate us more in detail, sort of like face to face what we're doing now.
yeah, absolutely. Adrian, you should release an explanation video for everyone. Um, you know, from the guru of all things Spurs related, Adrian Shroka, video for everyone to understand FFP. But what I gather from it is basically the intention is good, right? The intention is that no club should spend too much more than what they're earning in terms of revenue. So that, in that sense, the intention is good, and one would think that it would help teams compete. But unfortunately, what happens with intention is, like the road to hell is paved with good intentions, they say. It's kind of like that, because in effect what happens is that clubs uh there are clubs like City and Chelsea, with their fancy financial footwork. They can get away with showing more revenue. They can do 8 season amortizations. They can, basically play fast and loose with their finances, and also the owners can inject money into the club, almost unlimited amounts of money into the club, in a way that makes it hard to say that the club is not generating revenue. And so they can play fast and loose with the rules in a way that Everton and Brentford and Nottingham Forest and all of these clubs that are lower down can't do. And so a lot of these, that's why those are the clubs that are falling into trouble, because they're always working on fine margins. And those fine margins are calculated differently by different clubs. Like Everton's mistake was a calculation mistake, and for Forest, actually, it could be one of our players that is causing the problem. Can you guess why?
I'm guessing this has something to do with either Brennan Johnson or Jet Spence, or maybe even both. I haven't actually gone into the details of this FFP, so to speak, like uh, irregularities that might crop up on our end that has very strong links or ties to Nottingham Forest. But if I were to hazard a guess, I would say it was the 40 odd million British pounds maybe for the purchase of Brennan Johnson, or it could even be the Jet Spence purchase 2 seasons ago. It's either one of these two, or it could even be a combination of both.
Yeah. So before I tell everyone, I gotta say hi to some people. We have Colin in the house. Um, Colin, are you watching? Are you watching how the Asians are doing? We're gonna take over this show. It's happening. You know it. Um, and we also have Jishnu. Jishnu, I haven't seen you before, so welcome to Talking Ball. I think we should go for a loney and bring Douglas Luiz in the summer. Let me star that, and we'll discuss it later when we're doing transfers. Audio Artisan is here. Hi, Audio Artisan. For once, I'm not speaking in Hindi, so you can understand what I'm saying. Um, and Tommy G is saying all Premier League clubs are assessed for their compliance with the profitability and sustainability rules each year. Compliance is assessed by reference to the club's PSR calculation, which is the aggregate of its adjusted in earnings before tax for the relevant assessment period. Yes, absolutely, Tommy G. Tommy G and Adrian should do that show together. Clearly, they know more than we do. Um, and Adrian saying before Premier League clubs can lose £105 over a 3-year period without falling foul to PSR. That's true. The new rules don't allow us much leeway. And guess who's in the house? Hey Benny, how's it going? Um, y'all go support Benny on the coffee company if y'all want a chill time off of Spurs and just to discuss some cool fun things like Disney movies and like music and whatever the hell you want to discuss. Ben's stream is where it's at. So everyone
But I
go
think
there.
I have to I have to mention something about Ben Kaufman's The Coffee Company. This is a sort of like a public announcement notice for anyone who's going over to the coffee company. If you are over there, I would suggest that you try to avoid discussing anything football related or anything related to Spurs. Otherwise, you're gonna get a toxic alert, which I absolutely knew nothing about it. But yeah, it was great fun to be on Ben Kaufman's The Coffee Company stream. If you are following him, that's a channel really worth digging into.
Daniel saying, I think people are getting a bit lost. What FFP was really brought in for was to stop smaller teams going into administration, while in the Premier League, like what happened to Portsmouth. Yes, absolutely. Daniel, you're absolutely right. I think that the intention was that. But unfortunately, what's happening is that sometimes these sort of restrictions stop a club from being profitable because, like you see in this January window, everyone's too scared to buy players and improve themselves. Um, and Prashant is saying, "Hey, new subs here. Thanks, Prashant. Thank you for subbing. That's amazing. I hope everyone who's here has subbed because well, you have to sub to chat to chat in our channel. So thank you for subbing. Ooh, look at this. Hiren became a YouTube member. Yay. Thank you, Hiren. We will make sure that we get all of the best and latest content to you, and um like a lot of other things that you're promised in your membership. We try to do our best here. Hopefully you will be happy to be a member on Talking Ball. And hey, everyone else, if you are feeling generous today, you can also be like Hiren and get yourself a membership. Um so yeah, thanks Hiren for being a member, and Prashant for subbing. And Colin is saying you guys are the best. Colin, we think you're the best. um Adrian saying FFP was also brought in to stop dodgy owners from bankrupting clubs. Yeah, I agree with that. Uh, Rimanshu saying, "Hey Ash, day 971 of asking when will you guys contact me?" Rimanshu, you're supposed to contact us on Instagram, weren't you? Or Twitter. I told you, White Chart Lane on Instagram. Just message us. We'll get in touch with you. I haven't seen any messages. I keep a track on those. Just send us a message and we'll get back in touch. Um, Indian Gooner is in the house saying big up Ash and Chang. And yeah, he's also saying a traditional Hindu greeting that people do, sort of honoring the god Ram. Um, Guys, just want to say that I'm being called for an interview for Spurs steward job. I mean, I don't know if you're joking, but if you're serious, Prashant, best of luck. I hope you get in. You can be our inside man. Uh-huh. What'd you say? What'd you say, huh? Nice to have an inside man. Just harmless potatoes here. I love that name. I strongly believe to stop the Chelseas and cities of the world was at least partly a motivation for FFP. Yeah, I agree with this. I think that was the intention. But if you're wanting to do that, then you have to have teeth. You can't, I instead of like penalizing Everton and Forest first, if anyone has broken the rules, penalize them for by all means. But I would say that if you're penalizing, go in order. The 115, what is it, 115 charges against City are still lying in litigation. Just get through those first. I want to see the result of that. Either like stop hanging it over everyone's head and saying, "Oh, City cheated," "No, City didn't cheat," and then everyone arguing over it every year. I would like to see us getting getting a resolution on the City charges, on the Chelsea stuff, rather than sort of bringing up new clubs. How fast were you to penalize Everton and to now maybe penalize Forest? Because they don't have the money to fight back against you. So if you're willing to sort of stick your neck out and penalize them, then find out whether City and Chelsea have done something wrong, and like if they could be innocent, who knows? I don't know the details. I don't know how it all went down. um they're not It's not the new FFP rules that they've been penalized under, City and Chelsea, but whatever it is, I would like to see a resolution. I can't be having this discussion every year that City and Chelsea haven't been penalized, and yet small teams like Everton and Forest are. So yeah, the rules have to be the same for everyone. So, sorry, Jack, that was a little bit of a monologue.
Oh,
I
it's
hate
perfectly fine.
cheaters.
It's perfectly fine. Yeah, so do I. So do I as well. It's all of us because we should all be on a level playing field as far as it comes to financial fair play and also the sales and purchases of players that do not go above and beyond the means of any club, whether you are being backed by a rich old baron or run by a sovereign state or even what do you call this, funded by oligarchs or this is I can't believe I'm saying this, if you're funded by some subvert terrorist group, but But yeah, FFP and all this PSR in terms of trying to level the playing field so that each team has a competitive chance of actually uh, competing with the big boys in the big leagues or even the big tournaments in years to come. I think FFP and PSR is the only way to go about seeing that everyone gets a fair chance when it comes to fair play, whether it's financially or on the pitch, or even for us fans as well to enjoy football, whether it's the television rights, the marketing, the merchandising, things like that that go a long way towards FFP. But yeah, in terms of this FFP now that in which Spurs, Arsenal, Chelsea, and pretty much every club is now going to come under heavy scrutiny. I have to say that you did bring up a very good point there, as in teams that have openly and knowingly breached financial fair play and have like hundreds of charges against them, but these charges aren't looked into first, either because they are either too big to fail as a conglomerate, or rather as a sort of multinational footballing entity rather than just a local football club. I think if you were to go just by the charges alone, the figures, the total sums of all these charges, it's a no-brainer that uh, clubs like Manchester City and also Chelsea should be the very first to be looked into, because if you do not tackle this problem now, and if you do not hand out any sort of punishments or penalizations or even points deduction right now, by the time all of this gets uh, looked into and brought to light, and the charges being laid out, they would have the clubs like Manchester City and Chelsea would have like pretty much uh, won everything and anything that is on offer in world football, whether it's domestically in the UK, Britain, or even globally in terms of Europe and global domination. So yeah, I think clubs like Manchester City and Chelsea should be looked into first and foremost, which really leaves me kind of puzzled and baffled as to why lower tier clubs like Everton and Nottingham Forest are being you know being microscopically scrutinized right now. I mean, no offense, absolutely no offense by my indiscretion here by trying to imply that Everton and Nottingham Forest are any less of a club than the likes of Spurs or Manchester City or Chelsea. But if there are only one or two charges against them, why aren't teams like Manchester City and Chelsea being put under the microscope sooner? If you look at the amount of uh, finances, or rather the amount of transfer fees that they've gotten away with over the years that led to them being such powerhouses, whether it's Roman Abramovich for Chelsea, or even the Middle East backed Manchester City. It just makes no sense to me. I'm not sure how you see this, Miss Ash, but I really feel that it's a big injustice, a grave injustice, really, that teams like Everton and Nottingham Forest are being scrutinized, but Manchester City and Chelsea still get away with it scot free.
Yeah, absolutely. I will have to say though, Prashant, best of luck. 2 p.m. GMT. Prashant is apparently going to give an interview to be a Spurs steward job. So yes, Prashant, best of luck. I hope you kill it, and then you have to be our inside source. We need an inside source. It'd be really, really nice if we could have one. You know, just just between you and I. Um, um, I have to say good morning to a few people. Hi, Niall. Um, Hiren is saying, Prashant, good luck for the interview, mate. Yes. We all support each other here. Adrian saying autumn next year has been set for Man City to face their FFP charges. So that's amazing. That's very very good news, Adrian. I hope like if there's been any cheating, I hope that titles are taken away. I hope that there is some repercussion to that sort of cheating. And if there has been any cheating, that's fine, because I'm more actually interested in the Chelsea charges, because if their title is taken away, guess who that title comes to? Ours, yours truly, Spurs. So you never know. We could be 2016 Premier League champions. The double is on, just not the double we thought.
That would be
um,
really insane.
yeah. Oh, Cantab is in the house. Good morning, Cantab. Wanted to say that, are there any other new people? Oh, Shanata's here saying sorry I'm late. You just have to turn up, Shanata. We love you here, so whenever you turn up is fine with us. Um, yeah, going back to what Daniel was saying, let's be real. FFP is to stop clubs going in administration. It's not good for Premier League brand worldwide if clubs go bankrupt in their league. Why do you think there's going in on Everton so much? And then Hiren is saying, I think the problem with City 115 charges is that they have to examine all the charges before giving any punishment or sentence. And with City's lawyer, it will take a long time before we can get an update. Yeah, my God, those lawyers are just amazing. I wouldn't be surprised if that 3-person bench and the FA etc. are just you know really really scared of them. I was going to say a bad word, but I didn't. I stopped myself. No potty mouth for me today. Indian Gooner is saying Everton can't be absolved for the shambolic job they have done themselves. They spent millions and finished nowhere near Champions League position, so this was inevitable. Yeah, I agree with you. I think anyone who breaks the rules should be punished, but the rules have to be the same for everyone. So if City has broken their rules like 10 years ago and Chelsea has broken their rules 5 years ago, we got to hear about those before we move on to Everton breaking their rules this year or last year. You know, I think all of them should be penalized, but there should be parity in the penalties. That's what I mean. And then Eugene is coming in saying we need to get Khazana to buy Spurs. Hashtag Levy out. Um, and then Daniel is saying, I thought people would realize FFP is there only to benefit the Premier League to protect its brand. Um, and we got a lot of people who have a lot of opinions about this. It is easier to examine 3 to 4 charges as compared to 115, which is why Everton are getting punished now. Richard Hutchinson is saying, I support Spurs because Lee Young, Pyo, and Son only. Oh, that's great. As you heard, Richard, this is the Asian takeover. So we support all Asian players doing well. Hey, we support all Spurs players doing well, but we particularly like the Asian ones because this is the Asian takeover of Talking Ball. Um, Richard is saying, I'm Son FC. Good to know that, Richard. What are Yeah, we will. I'm going to start this question, Richard. I will come back to it. There are a few questions I started that I'll come back to. Everyone who's asked a question, don't never fear. I am here. I have not forgotten you. Graham Rutter is saying different cases. FFP is easy to prove. Yeah, I agree with that. Everton are a bigger club than Tottenham. Football wasn't invented in 1992. Yeah, I agree with this actually. I mean, so there was a time when like a lot of people sort of thought of Everton and Tottenham and a few other clubs, Villa, um, sort of on the same place. I mean, I would say Villa and Everton were slightly bigger clubs than Spurs at one point, but I mean, these things, they ebb and flow. Sometimes big clubs become smaller, sometimes small clubs become bigger, like Man City, for example. So yeah, I mean, the metrics for these are very subjective, I think. Just harmless potato. I'm not the league, but I would understand that you start with the easiest task first. That would be Everton. If Everton can get punished and it's legally compliant, then they go after City. Yeah, I hope this happens. I hope that's the thing. I just want the next part of it to happen. Um, so that's all I want. Um, just a harmless potato saying otherwise they may risk that it all goes down the drain. Yeah, I figured. all these new FFP changes are to deter Newcastle from going on a crazy spending spree. Yes, I
Actually,
hope. Well,
when I look at it, yeah, Newcastle United, that is a very interesting case for them. I honestly thought that they were going to be the new Manchester City. I believe it was what 2 years ago now, or 2 seasons ago, when the new uh, owners took over from Mike Ashley. I believe it was the former owner. So I mean, of course, us Spurs fans are always dreaming. We're always dreaming that Daniel Levy and Enoch and also Joe Lewis will sooner rather than later be taken over by some Middle Eastern entity, or even some oil baron, or even a crypto millionaire from America, for all I care. As long as we see some change, which I have to say, fair play also to Daniel Levy and Enoch. The last week or so of transfers for Spurs is, I think, the first time in a long, long while in which I can safely say that I've not enjoyed such a great January of early winter signings. I just really do hope that this doesn't come back to bite us now that we are trying to offset some of these purchases, these early January purchases, by trying to move on players like Eric Dyer and Hugo Lloris, Jet Spence, who's now also on loan with an option to buy, as well as Ashley Phillips, he's on loan. The latest news being that Alfie Devine has been recalled, but he's to be loaned out again. And I believe Sergio Region has already been given the here we go by Fabrizio Romano that he is going to be loaned out again. I believe without an option to buy. But yeah, then again, yeah, that this all comes back to us trying to stay within the FFP. And again, I have to mention, I am so glad that Newcastle United have not become the very next Manchester City that will be a great threat to our top four ambitions, let alone a trophy, mind you.
absolutely, I agree with you 100%. I do think that now, I mean, it's already happened with Chelsea and City, but now that we can stop it, like the new rules have come into place, it's good that we don't let it continue with them and let it happen to more clubs like Newcastle. David Shear, big up David Shear, very, very generous, gifted one talk and ball membership. I think it's gone to Shanata. So, Shanata, if you're in the house, you're very, very lucky that you are now enjoying the benefits of a talk and ball membership. You will make Colin a very happy man because Colin has to buy a new car. We have to get Colin. He has to be able to afford a new car since he crashed his old one. So it'd be great for Colin that you all have done this. So big up David Shear. Um, Wait, I have lost track of the comments. There we go. Um, Here we go. That's where we are. Richard Hutchinson is saying Spurs spent 272.10 million dollars. That's very specific. Thank you, Richard. Uh, Pounds and incoming 117.20 equal to 152.90 million. What trophies has Spurs won? I feel like the banter would have worked just as effectively, Richard, if you had just said what trophies have Spurs won. Um, but since a lot of people are asking this, there have been a few people who asked this. um Wait, there's one here. There were one or two of these. Anyway, so I would like to say that every single there isn't you will not find a single Spurs fan who doesn't want to win a trophy. I don't think that fan exists. Everybody wants to win a trophy. And the problem is that you can't win a trophy overnight. It takes building, it takes planning, it takes all of the right ingredients. The manager has to be right, the team has to be right, the management has to be right, the money has to be in place for transfers, all of that. And I must say, sort of bringing it back to the FFP thing, I feel like there has been some progression. Credit where credit is due. We are the only club that is actually buying players. in this January transfer window, and that's because every other club is scared of violating FFP. What do you think, Chang? Uh, should the management get any credit for that, or do you think it's just sort of coincidental?
I have to give a lot of credit where credit is due here to the likes of Daniel Levy and Johan Lang and even Scott Mann or whoever it is who's doing the books, who's balancing the books with regards to our transfers. Because if you look at our two recent signings, Timo Werner is a loan signing, so there is no transfer fee yet until, say, we make his loan permanent or if certain clauses are met within his loan clause. But Timo Werner is a loan signing, and Radu Dragushin, his permanent signing came with a lot of clauses that I believe should relate to where we finish in the league, which European competition we qualify for, if we do qualify for European competition next season. All in all, I would say that our finances is still within the margins of FFP, and if Daniel Levy and Enid continue to operate this way, I don't see why any of these signings should come under heavy scrutiny. Although I would still look towards balancing the books by trying to ship out, say, a Højbjerg or a Lo Celso or even Jeffert Tanganga permanently, not just on loan, as what we're doing now with Jet Spence and Sergio Region and soon to be Elfie Divine, but getting players out on a permanent basis, freeing up our wages for new signings in the future, and hopefully any breaches in the past. The one which comes to mind is the Jermaine Defoe purchase from West Ham United. Any of these past breaches of FFP, if there are any breaches in the case of Jermaine Defoe, I hope it gets resolved sooner rather than later, because I really wouldn't want to see us being penalized, say, 10 points at the end of the season in about 3 or 4 months' time if we are in about the top four challenging for maybe a top two or top three come end of the season. So, like I said, this FFP and what it has to do with Spurs and how it will impact us. Maybe not now in the next coming weeks or even the next few months, but in seasons to come. If there is any irregularities, get it done with. Just lay down the charges, just read us the riot act and get it over with rather than just prolonging it and dragging it out. That's all I have to say really on FFP when it comes to Tottenham Hotspur Football Club.
Yeah, absolutely. Shanata here makes a good point. Saying also, I saw on Twitter people discussing how Tottenham Stadium and the income it makes from other sports and other events has actually been really beneficial for financial stuff. Yes, one thing that Daniel Levy has, he may not be the best in terms of footballing stuff. Like I have constantly questioned his footballing decisions, which is why I'm glad and I hope it works for him that he's appointed so many people to take care of the football stuff. So like all of these people, Langer, McKenzie, Munn, I hope that the the uh, the giant crowded pot does its work. And But it is true that as a businessman, he is a very good businessman, and he has managed to find a lot of alternate revenues for this club. I mean, we make fun of it as fans because our focus should be on winning football games, on trophies. But it is in terms of FFP. I will say that it has the Formula One and the
All the
all and
concerts.
all the concerts,
Yep.
all of those things really do help. I mean, and then we get a song out of it because I'm sure Robbie Williams wants to have a concert at this at a discount at the Spurs stadium, so it works out the best for everyone. um so in that sense, I will say that it is good that that has happened. um Jishnu is saying we need to offload some players, Regulon, Emerson being the weak link in defense. Hoybier, Skip's positional awareness is just terrible. Last game, Skip was clueless in midfield. um and then uh David Shear is, I will come back to this, Jishnu. And David Shear is saying, big up Peeps, big up David Shear, because And thank you once again for gifting the membership to Shanata and Ash and Chang. Be very proud. Love you both. Yes, David Shear, all our Aussies, all the Aussies in the house. Considering you also play in the Asian Cup, you are honorary Asian. So you are joining us here on the Asian takeover of Talking Ball. It is happening. We have done it. Passwords are going to be changed. People are going to be locked out. You're never seeing Jose and Colin again. You can say bye bye to them. Um, so yeah, coming back to this, Chang, who do you think this window, this February, till February, who do you think we can realistically offload? Regulon, we know is going.
Realistically, yeah, Regulon is going on loan, although I heard that he is a surplus to requirements now. If there is one other player which I would really love to see the back of before the end of the window, don't get surprised here, but I would really love to offload Jeffert Tanganga soon as possible because I believe he is taking up one of our homegrown spots. Although it wouldn't be bad business either to move on either Hoybier or Lo Celso before the end of the January transfer window, just so that we can free up that extra slot in the midfield for maybe say Conor Gallagher. I know it's a bit wishful thinking, but someone to come in for Hoybier and Lo Celso if both of them are actually looking to getting first team action on a more regular basis, especially in Hoybier's case, where he is trying to cement his place within the Danish national squad for Euro 2024. I can really see him trying to push for a move. Although I have to say again, credit where credit is due, Pierre-Emile Højbjerg has been the absolute consummate professional when it comes to putting in a shift whenever it's called upon and not really throwing any sort of Berbatov proportions of sulking and throwing tantrums when he's not getting game time. But yeah, either one of Højbjerg or Lo Celso being moved on before the end of the window, and hopefully, if we can get someone in from in midfield this January transfer window, that would be good business. When you think about it, Timo Werner, Dragoshin, and another midfielder, that would be the dream January transfer window for Spurs to build not only for this season but for the forthcoming season as well, in which I can really see Spurs going to the bookmakers with whichever outstanding performer or player in Euro 2024 that will be the showcase of the summer, whether it's going to be a new top scorer to take over long term if Timo Werner doesn't work out, or maybe even a supplementary playmaker to take over from Lo Celso if he does move on in January or even in the summer, or even another defender if we can move on the likes of Jeffert Tanganga and Jet Spence or Sergio Reguilon. I would really welcome another defender just to cement that back line, the defense ahead of Vicario. And although I know Fraser Foster has just signed an extension to his contract at Spurs. Uh, I do hope we look to either bring one of our academy goalkeepers through the ranks to replace Fraser Foster in the long term. Although, again, with Euro 2024 coming up, I really don't, I wouldn't completely rule out the chances of us trying to bring in a second choice goalkeeper that is somewhere on par with maybe say Paulo Gazzaniga or even an upgrade over Michel Vorm or one of our previous second string goalkeepers, just so long as this goalkeeper knows that he will be playing second fiddle to Guillermo Vicario and that he will need to bide his time for first team action. But yeah, a long term replacement for Fraser Foster won't be the last piece of business that I would really look forward to.
Yeah, that's a good shout. That is a good shout. Second goalkeeper. Ben is, uh, I was talking, thinking about this. Ben, I do agree with you. I don't think a Middle Eastern owner for Spurs would work out, considering the traditional fan base. I would say, I think David Shear is in with a good shout. Where is it? I can't find it now. Maybe an Aussie billionaire. Let's do an Aussie takeover. Everyone, where are your who are Aussie billionaires? I mean there's Rupert Murdoch. I don't know if I want Rupert Murdoch to be doing football business. Is there anyone else? Who are the Aussie billionaires? I mean, I'm very where Samsung at. We have it's a South Korean team. Sunny is the captain. Let's get some Samsung action in. But if Samsung's not doing anything for us, then I pray to any Aussie billionaire who's listening out there in the world. This is me from YouTube begging you to take over Spurs. Um, so my Aussie billionaires, uh, do your job. Anyway, moving
I
on.
actually I wouldn't really Yeah, I wouldn't really rule out an American takeover if you're talking about billionaires, because yes, I know we're trying to try to bring up an Australian billionaire or even an Asian billionaire, but the solid and concrete rumors that were making the rounds a few seasons past, if you remember, I believe it was either Amazon or Google who were looking at naming rights for the stadium. I believe that was even during Conte's era, if I'm not mistaken, the early seasons of Conte era, where there was talks of Google or even Amazon who were looking at the stadium naming rights. If we can actually do something about the stadium naming rights, and a takeover wouldn't be completely off the cards, uh, provided Enoch and Joe Louis are willing to sell at the right price. But you never know. We can all us Spurs fans can only hope and wish at this point.
Yeah, that's true. And David Shear is saying it takes Ange to win a trophy. I love it. In Ange we trust, as Jose likes to say. And everyone, David Shear has done it on both channels, Talk and Ball and El Tel Cockrell. He has liked the video. Be like David Shear. He is the ideal student in this house. So everyone be like David. Uh, Eugene is saying there are fans that are satisfied with good football and being in the top four trophy race. I really hope this isn't true, Eugene. I think that uh, I, I hope that most Spurs fans are are only happy with top four if they see the top four leading to a trophy in the next season. The top four has to be a step towards a trophy. It can't be an end in itself. I think that is the problem with top four. Getting top four is well and good, as long as it gets us a trophy at some point. If it's just going to be top four, top four, top four, then I'm not here for it. Sorry. Uh, Jishnu is replying to Graham saying, need to give Conte credit to Conte also, even if there wasn't any decent style of play. He signed some serious players: Kulu, Bentancur, Porro, Udogi, Romero, Bisuma. Yeah, it's just a shame he didn't play so many of them. What do
If
you think?
anything, I would say a lot of these signings are actually down to Paratici. If you look
Yeah.
at the signings that Don Paratici has brought in from Serie A, I mean, if you just look at this season alone, Vicario, Destiny Udogi, Pape Metasar, Yves Bissouma to a certain extent, Pedro Porro, which we brought in last January, if I'm not mistaken, last 1 year ago, last January, Pedro Porro, even the likes of Dragushin, who we just brought into alongside Timo Werner. I'm pretty sure Don Paratici had a hand, or even had a big say in Dragushin coming in from Genoa at Serie A. A lot of these signings under Paratici, they have been just stellar signings. I mean, there are still the odd Levy signing in between, like the Jet Spence or maybe even a Richarlison. But other than that, if you look at it, I honestly didn't expect us to be able to sign James Maddison from Leicester City the moment they were relegated. That really was a big coup. And up until his injury, James Maddison for me was our best player so far. Although I did earmark Guillermo Vicario to be our player of the season, but yeah, I think a lot of credit has to go to Fabio Paratici and the work he's done ever since ever since Nuno took over and he brought in Christian Romero. What a signing that was for us from Atalanta. I mean, yeah, of course, Christian Romero has his days off where it can be a bit of a loose cannon, but Christian Romero was just the tip of the iceberg of what Paratici was capable of. And long may Fabio Paratici serve as our consultant when it comes to signings in the future.
David, I will say I haven't seen your debut, but I'm sure that you were wonderful because we love you here on Talking Ball, and so I have a feeling that it wasn't as bad as you think it was, and certainly not as bad as I think it generally is. Which is why I have a childminder in Chang or Ellie or Mia. You know, Daniel Lee is saying anyone who disrespects the FA Cup being a Spurs fan needs to respect Tottenham's history. I absolutely agree with this, Daniel Lee. I am in Indian Gooner. If you're still in the house, I am in no way in agreement with Will Stewart. I do not know if he said that, but if he has said that, I am not in agreement with that at all. I think that the FA Cup is a very important part of Spurs history. And if anyone wants to truly be a Spurs fan and appreciate the beauty of this club, you have to appreciate the beauty of those FA Cup runs, like how can you be singing Aussie's Dream and not appreciate the FA Cup runs? It just the idea of playing that final in Wembley, it's just one thing that Spurs fans have always sort of held on to, and it's one of those things that also motivates us through the season because oftentimes, we reach January and we're out of every trophy, we're out of the Premier League in the sense that we're not going to win it. We might get top four, but we're not going to win it. A lot of the past seasons, it's been that. So the FA Cup sort of becomes my hope for the season, right? That, oh, here's something we can do that's achievable. We can win the FA Cup. And so it's always in January that I'm looking to the FA Cup for that trophy. So I really I don't think that I agree with Will Stewart at all. What do you think about the FA Cup, Chang? Oh wait, before that, David Shear is saying dost Ash. Dost means mate in Hindi. So dost David, hi to you. And Chang, what do you think about the FA Cup?
As what I alluded to much earlier at the beginning of the show, if we could get past Manchester City, I really see us going all the way to the final and possibly challenging very, very, very competitively for the FA Cup this season. Of course, that still is a long way away. We still have to get over Manchester City in the fourth round later this month on Friday nights at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. But yeah, I would really, really love nothing more than for Big Ange to get his hands on a trophy in his debut season without Harry Kane, with so many injuries and suspensions and players away on international duty, just as he was getting the gang back together. And suddenly we are now without the likes of Son Heung-min and Pape Matar and Yves Bissouma, and hopefully they come back fit and unharmed from their international duties. And I really cannot wait for the next round of league games to kick on now that we've seen what Ange Ball is all about from the first half of the season and also from the away draw at Manchester United, in which I am still very firmly with the belief that it was 2 points drop at Old Trafford and not 1 point gain. Don't get me wrong. I still feel that yes, Manchester United had that glorious opportunity to seal all 3 points right at the very end with that point blank range header by Scott McTominay. which blazed over the bar, and we saw Guillermo Vicario hanging off the crossbar. He was pretty much doing the jungle gym or even the pull-ups on the crossbar for that. But yeah, if we can get past Manchester City end of this month, and we get the gang back together, all fit and sound and ready to kick on for the second half of the season, I really see us as top three contenders now. We will be strong top three contenders if everyone stays fit and healthy, and provided also, of course, Big Ange is smart with his rotations, because we can ill afford another unwanted long-term injury. Look, seeing as how Ben Davis is out for the foreseeable future, I really, really doubted that we were going to see Ivan Perisic in a Spurs jersey for the rest of his stay or his career at Spurs. So yeah, fingers crossed we keep all our players fit and healthy, and we will really look forward to playing in the final of the FA Cup. And who knows, we may even be challenging for top three come end of the season. The future is
Yeah.
bright. The future is lily white.
Absolutely. Future's bright, future's lily white. And audio artisan, I hate to disappoint you, but apparently, I think Alfie's going to go to Plymouth, if I'm not wrong. So he'll join Ashley Phillips there, and I hope that they both do a great job. It's amazing to see his progression from League One to the Championship now. He did well at Port Vale. I hope he does well at Plymouth also. And then he comes to us fully ready to be a first team, to challenge for a spot in the first team. And everyone's talking about cricket, so I hope that India beat England in their test match series, 5 tests. And Quez Ali is in the house. Hi, Quez Ali, big up. You are also, I'm big up, big up. Yes, Quez Ali, you are big up to Quez Ali. um, so then Vernon Jordan is saying Tottenham has a fantastic history in which we have won numerous cups, trophies. I'm not fearful because I know we will be winning more cups in the near future. Absolutely right, Vernon. It's gonna happen. As Chang said, the future's bright, the future's lily white. Um, just a harmless potato is saying Gina Reinhardt, Andrew Forrest, Harry Triggerbuff. Um, And then Bobby K is in the house. It's Bobby K. Good morning, Ash Chang and everyone in the chat. Good morning to you, Bobby K, or whatever time it is in Canada. Evening, morning, whatever it is. Uh,
It's morning right now.
yeah,
It is
good
morning
morning.
over in Canada.
I hope Gina Reinhardt doesn't take over, in my opinion. Yeah. Oh, y'all are killing me. Um, so everyone's saying hi to Bobby. Everyone's talking about cricket. Uh, Need someone with 8 million pounds. Do you know anyone, Chang? I mean, I don't know anybody who even has like. Actually, don't even know anyone with £1 million. I think, but billion for sure. No.
Oh, 8 billion pounds. Let's see
Let
now.
me pull out
Who's
that
the
phone book.
Richard Branson? Richard Branson, the owner of Virgin Airlines. If he's interested in a footballing club or even a sports entity, I would gladly invite a Richard Branson takeover of Tottenham Hotspur Football Club. Although, what's his name? What's his name? Who's founded Amazon? I would also
Jeff Bezos.
I wouldn't completely wrong. Yeah, correct. Jeff Bezos, exactly. Thank you for that. Jeff Bezos of Amazon. I'm sure he has 8 billion pounds to spare. So yeah, I would. It'll be kind of strange to see the likes of Richard Branson and Jeff Bezos
Yeah, I
invest in
mean,
a
Jeff
footballing
Bezos
entity.
has slightly less money now after his divorce made him lose half his fortune, but still one of the top 10 richest men on the planet. So, Jeff Bezos, if you're listening, I have Amazon Prime. I supported you. You support me back. So, Shanata saying, didn't Daniel Levy or someone else during a fan session talk about how they're not rushing to have brand naming rights because the brand recognition of Tottenham at all these events is good? Yes, absolutely. This was at the at the press conference they had, the fan talk they had this season with Ange and Rob from the women's team, as well as Sunny and Beth, uh, as well as Daniel Levy, and he did say that they were not in a hurry for naming rights, simply because calling it Tottenham Hotspur Stadium sort of encouraged the brand recognition of the team itself across the world. Because if you say Beyonce is having a concert in Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, then you start thinking, oh, what's a Tottenham Hotspur? So it does help. It does help. Liam Harty is saying afternoon to you, Liam. Hope you're having a lovely day. Um, and then everyone's saying hi to Bobby. Sanket Kothari, I think I haven't seen you in this chat before. So hi, Sanket. Tottenham and Spurs are two different things. Yeah, well, in terms of like the area, I suppose, like the team Tottenham Hotspur and the area of Tottenham, but in a way their histories sort of align. Um, I don't know if this explanation is just advertising talk. It is a bit like branding advertising talk, but um it is also every little penny helps. Ben, I want yeah. I don't know what's Tottenham and trophies are different things. Oh, that makes more sense, Sanket. You never know. We'll see. We'll see. It could happen. It could happen in the future. There's no saying what will happen. Uh, love the fact it's called the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium.
For me, it will always be White Hart Lane. I mean, there is that uh, deep regret that I have for not being able to see the old lane for what it was before it was taken down. And it comes as an even more bitter memory, knowing that I actually had that chance to go over to N17 and actually physically work on the stadium hands on as a construction supervisor or a apprentice engineer at N17 back in 2015. But because of family matters and some work complications over here in Southeast Asia, I wasn't able to take up that job opportunity to work on the construction of the new stadium back in 2015, just before it was demolished, if memory serves me right. So, yeah, for me, the stadium will always be White Hart Lane, and if we do get over the naming rights, I hope that will go a long way into seeing the shift in ownership from Joe Louis and Enoch to maybe a American billionaire or a Russian mobster. Who knows what the future holds?
Russian mobster. Um, so Ben, I agree. Tottenham Hotspur for me, like Chang said, is always going to be White Hart Lane. It's kind of why my Hindi show is called White Chart Lane, because that's like that's where you find me. I have a lot of like a love for that name, and that's how I always refer to the stadium. In fact, even now I refer to it as White Hart Lane, even though I know it's not called that anymore. I mean, I suppose it's part of it is just old habits die hard, but I do think it's also like it's a nice name. I don't know. I think having the name Tottenham Stadium is pretty cool. It's still a different identity to White Hart Lane. Yeah, it is true. I think it's just like I'm not good at change. Change is hard for me. So White Hart Lane works for me, but it is good. You are right. It helps in the newer fan base when they call it Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, because it's just easy to remember. Like sometimes with some of the smaller teams in the championship, I can't remember their stadium name because I'm not from there. I'm not from England. I haven't actually been there to sort of like find it as a place on the map. So you are right. It is easier when you call it Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. But for me, it'll always be White Hart Lane. Daniel Lee is saying, when I was a kid, I used to rewatch my video of the 8 FA Cup wins all the time. Aw. I could just imagine 8-year-old little baby Daniel watching his FA Cup wins. It would be so cute. Ben saying the FA Cup is an occasion next best to Christmas Day. Yes, absolutely. It's like a whole in the UK. It used to be like a whole thing, right? Like in the morning, they'd have like a FA Cup day with like FA Cup shows and FA Cup content, and it would go on throughout the day. I'm guessing people got drunker as it went on, so it must have been a fun event. Yes, everyone. As Colin and Jose are reminding me, please sub to our sister channel, El Tel Cockerel. This is a joint stream. And so go there, like the video, sub there, watch the content from both channels. I will also say that Jose and Colin are doing something really exciting for you on Saturday, which is 9 p.m. on Saturday. They will pick Tottenham's greatest 11, voted by a very, very special panel and the chat. So if you want to have a say in who you think Tottenham's greatest 11 is, so if you want it, you have to go there, you have to be in the chat to have a say. So if you want your voice to be heard, then please come Saturday 9 p.m. and have your say. 9 p.m. I'm guessing is UK time, so that would be I have no clue what it is in any other time. Y'all just press the bell icon, you'll get a notification.
9 p.m.
Uh,
UK time should be, let's see now, if 9 p.m. UK time, I believe it could be 5 a.m. over here in Southeast Asia. So maybe it should be what, 2? No, not 2.
Absolutely,
It's
everyone. Be sleep deprived. Wake up. This, I told you, it's the Asian takeover. I'm going to be a dictator. We are going to tell when you will sleep, when you will eat. You will come on this channel and you will watch Jose and Colin talk about what the greatest 11 for Spurs is, and you will have an opinion on it. On only that. Yeah, sorry. Daniel Lee saying, I'm obsessed with winning the FA Cup because I was born when we last won it. I was 10 months old. I can't remember it, obviously, because I was a little kid, so it pisses me off even more. Yeah, for me, I want to win it because I wasn't born when we last won it. So um, I will say that's kind of my motivation. Neil is saying we are truly a global AM. AM is at the moment. Um, So yes, we are. This is the Asian takeover, as you can see. So we are global, definitely global. And Neil is saying great content. Um, and Jose is reiterating Chang's statement. The future is bright and it's lily white. Absolutely. Um, and then David Shear is saying Ange will not stop ever. He will set a damn fine footprint for winning. Absolutely. Once I genuinely feel this about trophies. It's once you break that one ceiling and believe that you can win it once, you will always you will always believe you can win it. And so, like the FA Cup or the League Cup becomes your gateway trophy. It's kind of it's kind of like a high, right? It's I'm not comparing it to drugs. Trophies are not drugs, people, but it is kind of like a gateway trophy
yeah,
thing, like Chelsea as
I,
well.
I get I get where you're coming from because in terms of trophies, I really think that under Big Ange we really have a good opportunity of breaking the duck or breaking our barren spell of trophies. We did come very close. Don't get me wrong. Under under Pochettino, he had his chances. He had his cup finals. Under Jose, he should have been given his League Cup final, but he was cruelly denied by Daniel Levy. Under Conte, I don't think he did enough to warrant a cup final, although he did try to bring up. He did try to break back. He did try to go back into top four before he was also unceremoniously dumped out. But now with Big Ange, I really feel a sort of change in the mentality, the sort of mindset that our players go into match day, not just in the knockout competitive fixtures, but also in the league games itself, where almost every league game now, whether be it away or home, is almost like a cup final to whoever it is who takes to the pitch and puts on the jersey. So yeah, I think I can really see Big Ange winning a trophy in his time and career at Spurs. Whether it's this season in the FA Cup remains to be seen, and whether or not it is during the time of Son Heung-min as our current club captain to finally lift that long-awaited silverware that we've been so craving for like the past decade or so since our last League Cup trophy under Juan de Ramos. But yeah, I firmly believe that Big Ange is our answer in terms of winning silverware, and whether or not he is capable of being more than just a domestic cup winner remains to be seen. But yes, as far as supporting Ange Postecoglou goes, he has my vote for
Yeah,
probably our best manager that we could have appointed in the 21st century. That's how confident I feel Ange Postecoglou is going to do great things for us here in the near foreseeable future.
absolutely. And long may it last. Daniele, you're absolutely right. We were going to talk about Brennan Johnson. Thank you for reminding me. I got lost in the whole, oh my God, there's trophies discussion. So just coming back to Brennan Johnson, Chang, did you know that Brennan Johnson is the reason that Forest has all these FFP problems? So what happened was Brentford offered a deal to Brennan Johnson for like some 31 million or some or 35 million. I'm not sure about the price. If the chat knows, put it in the chat. But Brennan Johnson didn't want to go to Brentford. He wanted to go to a top six club, which is where we came in. And unfortunately, FFP is only calculated till July, and we bought Brennan Johnson in August, which means that Forest couldn't put that profit on their books. And so the one of the reasons that Forest is having these FFP problems is that Brennan Johnson refused to go to Brentford. So poor Forest, they are facing, but it I don't think it's the fault of the player. The player, if he doesn't want to go play at a certain club, has all the right to say I don't, and the club's finances are not the responsibility of any single player, so that's fine. I will say this: do you think, Chang, that we overpaid for Brennan Johnson looking at his price?
I think it's far too soon and a bit premature, really, if you were to judge his performances and equate it to the price tag on his head when we bought him from Forest. Yes, he does come with a heavy price tag, and with this sort of overinflated British young prospects or young talent, there always is that air of expectancy that accompanies such a hefty price tag. Although he hasn't really set Tottenham Hotspur Football Club alight the way Madison and Pape Matasar or even Mickey van der Ven, Udogi, Pedro Porro, he hasn't really had that big of an impact. But from the few assists that he's chalked up thus far in the league, as well as his performances uh, in the FA Cup, that we've been able to, so to speak, like benchmark his impact at Spurs. I am actually looking forward to seeing more of Brennan Johnson, although I would say that in order for him to fully thrive in an Ange system, he really needs a sort of like guiding figure, a sort of role model to look up to that can really just nurture him and get the best out of him. The way maybe say a Pape Metasa is now really benefiting from having a Bentancur or even a Yves Bissouma beside him, or a James Madison just playing in front of him to get the best out of him. I believe the one missing ingredient right now for Brendan Johnson is an actual uh, marquee signing up front, whether it's on the wings or as the new replacement for Harry Kane. Brendan Johnson really needs this sort of like shining uh, father figure to look up to in the starting 11, in which he can really learn his trade and hone his skills to the levels which all of us Spurs fans are really hoping that he can achieve. Uh, yeah, I mean, I think it's a bit too soon to say whether Brendan Johnson has justified his hefty price tag. Uh, yeah, I mean, the jury is still out there. If you ask me, whether Brennan Johnson has been a flop or he will still come good or he's just just about justifying his price tag. I think we should give him time to the end of the season so that we can see more of him. And now that Timo Werner is in, Richarlison is scoring again. We look forward to seeing Son Heung-min back with the squad in less than a month's time from now. And yes, I would really love to see a lot more of Brennan Johnson from now to the end of the season. And hopefully by then, he would have been able to justify his price tag and uh, shut our naysayers and the doubters up.
Yeah, I hope so too. I'm gonna catch up with the chat before I tell you what I feel about Brennan Johnson. Just a harvest potato. You are absolutely right. This is a dictatorship. Y'all have to come. Y'all have to like. Y'all have to subscribe. Ain't having it any other way. And Shanata saying, Ash, do some magic and change the time slot. Let Europe and Americas be sleep deprived. Shanata, I'd love to do that honestly, because I'd like to not be sleep deprived as well. But poor Jose and Colin, they have to organize across two continents, and unfortunately, nighttime is all that suits them. Um, hopefully, we'll see more Asian time slots on Talking Ball, so that us Asian people can get other content. But you know what? Hell, screw that. We'll do our own team of Ultimate Spurs 11 team, Jose and Colin. Yeah, you heard us right. Us Asian people can make teams as well. So it's gonna happen. You never know. But yeah, for real, everyone, please tune in to that at 9 UK time. And Bobby K, Danny Lee's talking to Bobby. Yeah, talk to each other, y'all. Saw a tweet the other day talking about drawing Man City for the coming FA Cup round. The draw is bad, but they've never won here. We're also missing key players. I mean, keep the faith. So yeah, Chang talked about this earlier in the show. I will say this. Chang did mention the possibility that if we can draw the game and then have a replay, we'll have all our best players back and it'll be our perfect 11. But I honestly don't want to replay. I would rather beat them this time. And the thing is, we are their bogey team. Let's make use of that. I know KDB is back. I know we are lacking Sunny, who's like inevitable against City. Sunny is like, unstoppable force against City. It's a sad thing that we're missing him, but I still have faith that we can get something out of that game. All we gotta do is outscore them. Who cares about defending? Just outscore them. I'm sure it'll work out. Um, Wait, what are we blaming Ash for? I didn't do anything. I'm so innocent. Everyone, I'm just like the nicest person on the planet. You'll know that once you get to know me. I mean, poor Chang, he has to deal with me, but I will say that I'm kind of nice. No hating me. Dragushin reminds me of Guardiola from Man City. What do you think, Chang?
Dragushin, from what I saw in the few minutes that he made his cameo towards the end away at Manchester United, I believe he really is a player for the future for us. Whether or not he is seen as direct competition for Van der Ven or Romero remains up to Big Ange to deploy him. Although that, if you ask me, what does or rather who does Dragushin compare to? For me, Radu Dragushin actually reminds me a lot of a very young Ledley King. Put it this way, his tenacity, the way he reads the game, his pace that can be deceivingly fast over a short burst with his sprints. If he is also nurtured in the right way, if he has that sort of father figure or a guiding leader beside him, the way Ledley King was to Michael Dawson, I can really see Dragushin linking up very, very well with Van der Ven as very pacey and very quick centre backs dealing with the left and the right whenever our fullbacks push up. In those sort of games where it is just helter skelter where we'll be playing the very high line the same way we deployed against Chelsea at home this season when we were down to 9 men. In those sort of instances where we have such a high line and we have Vicario as the skipper, as a sweeper, the sweeper keeper, I would actually prefer Dragushin over Romero in such a offensive deployment because his pace merit with that of Mickey van der Ven, they are going to be a duo to be reckoned with in seasons to come. So if you're talking in terms of Dragushin, yes, he does remind me a bit of Josko Vardiol from the days when Vardiol was back in Red Bull Leipzig, RB Leipzig, before he even came to Manchester City. So again, it will be down to Big Ange to deploy him as best as he can. And I really am looking forward to a lot more of Dragushin this season, whether it's in the FA Cup later this month or even in the league games. I am very, very sure we will see more of him. Uh, yeah, I really am looking forward to big things from Radu Dragushin.
Absolutely. I'm looking forward to big things from him as well. And I also feel like Romero will play more carefully if he has to compete for his spot with somebody else. But coming back to my views on Brennan Johnson, the disagreement that Daniel E and I had is that I said that Johnson doesn't take on his man because he's scared to lose the ball. And so Daniel E is saying if he's scared to lose the ball, why is he putting in so many wasteful and aimless crosses? So I'll tell you what it is. I think that, and from what I heard, there was an interview that Johnson did after the match, after which game I'm not sure, but he said that Ange tells them to send in the cutback and into the right areas. So not to worry about whether there is a player there or not. Like if you take the time to look and then pass, you lose the advantage, and then the defenders can cover it. So I think that Ange has instructed his players to sort of cut back or send the ball or cross the ball into a right area and hope that someone's running in from behind. I think that's one of the reasons why you'll see it with Kulusevski as well when he plays on the right. Our left has been a little shaky, but you see it with Sunny as well. It's just that Sunny is just better at it, so he generally finds his man. He has there's an instinct for where your players are at, and Sunny
Yes,
has that because he's
yes,
just a class player.
the partnership.
Um,
You're talking about the partnership.
Yeah, so I do think it's a little bit of that, but I will go on further to say, Daniel, that like I said earlier on Tottenham on tour in the morning, is that Johnson playing is not Johnson's fault, or Johnson playing badly is not just Johnson's fault. It's the fault of the fact that we don't have enough depth. When a young player is bought and comes into a team, what they have to do is play themselves into the team. So they start from the bench, they work themselves in as super subs. Once they perform well enough, that's when they get selected to start. That's how it generally works. But when you get a young player in and you lose all your experienced players like we did and then have to push Kulu to the midfield, what happens then is that Johnson is forced to start every game. And he's young, he hasn't learned the system yet, he hasn't proven that he deserves to start, but we're forced to starting him simply because of our own injury crisis. So, and some people thrive in that sort of stress, but a lot of players under that sort of stress don't perform so well. And I think Brennan Johnson is another one of those confidence players. I do think that he'll still come good. I think that there is a player in there, but I'm not one of those people who's going to stick their neck out and be like, oh, he's an amazing player or anything like that. I will give him till the end of the season, and I hope that he does well, because I hope that all my Spurs players do well. So yeah, that's
Speaking
all I'm
of Speaking of Brennan Johnson doing well, do you think when Kulusevski comes back from his illness, do you think that Kulusevski actually can be that sort of like mentor or sort of like, big brother to Brennan Johnson in terms of learning his trade going down the flanks, whether be it on the left or the right? Or do you feel that maybe that responsibility should fall to someone with within the leadership group like Sun Heung-min to do that, to do just that?
So Kulu as a leader, you're saying? I think that I think there is a
Kulu,
potential there.
Kulu more as like a guiding light. Kulu as a sort of like a mentor, or a, you know,
I mean,
like someone who's
Kulu's
under
too young to be a
tutelage.
mentor. I think in the future, for sure, I see him, and that Bentancur and Kulu are two people I see as future leaders for this team. But I will say he's really young right now. He's only 23. There's a lot of time. I think we should give him the time to grow as a player, and then maybe when he's 26 or 27, if he's still with us and still performing well, we keep him on in a leadership role. He grows into that role. I hope that happens. Um, Salem, I was going to time you out again, but I'm going to assume that these are with the best of intentions. So show your love for the channel, show your love for El Tel Cockerel as well. And, you can also show, apparently, we have memberships now. So you can show your love through to all of us through memberships. So, Salem, as usual, coming in with his usual comment, and I hope that he uh, backs it up with a like and a subscribe. Shinata is saying, I guess a lot of you have seen the video of Pep's goal, being goals being winning Spurs away. Spurs always on his mind. Yeah, the score in it is astounding to me that Man City have not managed to score in Tottenham Hotspur Stadium till now. Do you think this will be the year, Chang?
I believe that statistic actually only works for the league form, because if you do recall, I think has wait, let me get this right. Have Manchester City under Pep Guardiola scored against us in any cup competitions, or is it just only the league? That's what I'm trying to struggling.
Um,
That is the one thing that
I
I'm
don't think
struggling to recall.
I don't think
If
we faced
if
them. We've only
Manchester
faced them
City
in the
have yet to
Champions League,
score
right?
against Tottenham Hotspur in both league and cup competitions, then I think that really is quite an achievement. Although now that we have Big Ange and his Ange ball and his high line, that barren streak that Manchester City of not scoring against us at the new stadium, that might soon come to an end. Although I really that doesn't come to fruition come the end of the month when they play us in the fourth round FA Cup tie. Uh, I think it all depends on the defensive lineup that Big Ange is going to feel that day against Manchester City. Uh, if and this is a big if, please, I'm going to caveat this before anyone bashes me in the chat with regards to how we're going to line up defensively against Manchester City. If we still play the same kind of naive and aggressive sort of playing out from the back and not really uh, trying to work the long balls to our midfielders and our forward players, it will be a big ask with the Ange ball system that Big Ange so loves to deploy at home. That we are not going to get caught out by the odd stray pass that doesn't really find its man, its intended target. So yeah, I think it's difficult to say that we're going to get another shutout against Manchester City later this month. Although, of course, I am really hoping against hope that that is what we're going to do. And if we do keep a clean sheet against Manchester City in the fourth round FA Cup tie, there's a very big chance we might just nick another scrappy 1-0 win, the same way we did at home against Bournemouth last month. So yeah, I simply cannot wait between now to our FA Cup tie next Friday night, which is just slightly over a week from today. Today's already Wednesday, January the 17th. So yeah, from between now and next Friday, wow, I really cannot wait for that kickoff whistle.
So, Chang, I will have you know that we've only faced City in one cup competition, which is the Champions League. And in that, we won at home 1-0. Sunny scored that goal. So we have in all competitions they have never ever ever seen the ball at the back of the net. It is a beautiful sight to see City being stopped every single time. Bob down under, you have it absolutely right. City have never ever ever, as Taylor Swift would say, never ever ever managed to score at our stadium. Clearly, this show is bringing out the inner Swifty in me. We've done trouble, 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 then never, ever, ever. I will turn you all into Swifties. It's happening. You know it. Um, Grab Rudder saying Paul Allen was the youngest player to play in an FA Cup final. He said it took time to adjust to play for a big club. Give Brennan time. Absolutely, Graham Rudder. So I just have this one final thing to talk about. Um, and once we're done that, I will let everyone go. The dictatorship is lenient. So everyone, you will be granted freedom after I talk about this one thing, which is this. So apparently, Tim Sherwood has doubled down on his criticism of Pedro Porro. I was very critical early doors of Pedro Porro, and I still am. I think he's not a good defender. When he's asked to defend, he will let you down. What do you think?
I think Pedro Porro has come under some rather unfair criticism and unwarranted too, at that, aimed his way ever since his debut under, I believe it was Conte. Yes, Conte last January. Uh, Going forward, I believe he really is a good offensive wing back. If you just look in terms of his assists, there was this statistic I brought up. I believe it was the last time I was on Talk and Ball, whereby Pedro Porro is now the leading assist uh, provider in a single league season since he came in. He has actually surpassed both Kyle Walker and Danny Rose in terms of assists in the league alone. This season alone, and the league and the season isn't 2/3 of the way yet. So going forward offensively, Pedro Porro is definitely very good in that aspect. But with regards to his defensive frailties, I think that actually was brought to light again 3 days ago at Old Trafford when we conceded that early goal. Yeah, Pedro Porro as a defender, I think he still has work to do. Don't get me wrong. I still feel that there is a good defender, a good right back or a good right wing back, however he may be deployed in our back line. Whether or not he's going to hit the heights of Carl Walker in this regard remains to be seen. But again, for Tim Sherwood, our former manager who was so adamant in giving the likes of oh my goodness, what's his name? That Algerian Bentaleb, yes, Nabil Bentaleb.
Bentaleb.
He was
Nabil
so,
Bentaleb.
yeah, he was correct, exactly, Nabil Bentaleb. So yeah, he was famous for doing that, just that, giving Bentaleb a chance. And now when Conte and Big Ange is trying to give Pedro Porro a chance down that right hand wing, and you hear Team Sherwood coming out on social media saying that Pedro Porro still isn't up to his standard in terms of defending. Pedro Porro's reply to that on social media, I believe it was a tweet that Pedro Porro put out in the Spurs Express, whereby he just put up this laughing out loud smiley in response to Tim Sherwood's remarks. That for me just says everything I need to know about Pedro Porro and his mindset. And yep, that's the one. That's the one where I'm talking about. This right here. Sorry, this. Yep, this right here. This right here is exactly what I'm talking about. Pedro Porro's response. I really couldn't care less about his defensive frailties because let's face it, that's the way Big Ange wants to play it. Big Ange just wants to outscore the opposition, regardless of whether you are a mid-table team or a bottom league team or a second tier championship team, or you are crowning no, sorry, you're reigning champions of Europe or reigning champions of England. That's the way Big Ange deploys his team, and with that in mind, there will be defensive frailties. And if Pedro Porro can outscore and out assist his goals, the goals that his defensive mistakes that he chalks up every other game in the league or in cup competitions, then so be it. Because that's the way Big Ange has set up his system. He's not just going to sit back and defend. He is going to go headlong forward to attack and outscore the opposition. And I couldn't care less if Pedro Porro is making mistakes at the back, so long as he is assisting and scoring up front. Long may that continue for me.
No, I do agree with you, Chang. I will say there are a few comments here that also do have a few good points in them. Um, First of all, Daniel is saying, "Well, I think Sherwood ain't been a manager since 2017." Enough said. Um, but Hiren's come in saying he isn't completely wrong. Porro is still a bit weak defensively, but he's young. He'll definitely improve in that aspect as well. And offensively, we all know he's the best right back in the league behind Trent. And Adrian is saying Porro was partly to blame for both goals we conceded against Man United. Bob Down Under saying Porro is getting a lot of support in defense from Sar when he's in the side. And I don't think it's just Sar, it's also Kulu when he plays on the right. I think that, in fact, his earlier seasonal performances, they looked really good because Kulu on the right was a great outlet in terms of his amazing hold up play. Kulu has really, really strong hold up play. And that was very, very helpful to someone like Pedro Porro to have that outlet, somebody who can hold the ball up,
Oh yes, for
especially in
sure,
that
definitely
broken
for sure,
game.
yes.
Daniel is saying, am I missing something? Did Sherwood build his teams based on strong defending? Now the guy is whinging his whole management career. Guy ain't got a clue about structured defending. Daniel Lee coming in with some spice there. Graham Ratter saying, trust Ange and the coaching staff with all players. If they don't cut they will move on. Support all players who put on the shirt. Just a harmless potato saying the game has changed. Nowadays, defenders need to pass, to cross, and not only to defend. You have only to look at all aspects of Poro's game, and he's been great this season. Hasper is saying this is his first year as a right back, so he's a work in progress. However, Johnson isn't helping him on the right, especially versus United. Yeah, this is what I was saying, Hasper. Dan P saying, I don't care. Name one right back who's not weaker in at least one aspect. That's the modern day right back. Unfortunately, it's life. So this is what I was going to say as well, which is Adrian is right in the sense that right in the sense of right and wrong, not right and left. Adrian is that the goals are all coming from the right. A lot of the goals against United were coming from the right. That is true, but the I will also say that the modern day right back is a different type of right back. In our team, they play inverted, they play in the midfield. They don't have the same sort of positional roles that they used to have earlier. In fact, if you look at on the other side, Van der Ven's speed is helpful because half the time Udogi is in the opposition box or in midfield, and so Van der Ven is covering a lot more area than he traditionally would as a centre back. Um, and if you look at Ange's back line, one thing I can say is they all do have the discipline to maintain their line. So despite the fact that they go out of they go in and out of positions, there's always somebody who replaces them so that we do kind of maintain that offside trap in the line. In the United game, it is true that Pedro Porro was positionally caught unaware in the first goal, and so that line was not maintained because he was somewhere in midfield when Rashford came in. But I will also say that it was a hard game to be positionally aware of simply because of that dangerous diagonal that was coming in towards Rashford. More Rashford than Garnacho because I think teams realized that Pedro Porro was slightly weaker in the defense than Udogi is. Um, So I will say that the things that he gives us in attack are bigger than his weaknesses in defense. It's the same with Trent Alexander Arnold. Name me one Liverpool fan who'd want to drop Trent Alexander Arnold. I don't think you'll find a lot, because despite his defensive fallacies, um, uh, despite his defensive fallacies, Pedro Porro, when he's in form, is an amazing provider, assister. Like, think about that Liverpool game. We would not have won that Liverpool game, and they would not have had a collective meltdown if not for Pedro Porro, uh, and that pinpoint cross of his that caused the own goal. So, and you're seeing that on. He's slightly slowly becoming a dead ball specialist as well. He's a good in with dead balls, the free kicks against Chelsea, the corners that he's taking. Of course, Matters will come back and perhaps take over on corners. But it's a really good option to have on the dead ball if you have Porro and Matters both in the team. So Ayush is saying, to be honest, just give Ange the time he needs and don't sack him at all. He's a great coach, and also give him the transfer window he wants. Absolutely, Ayush. I agree with this 100%. And Dragon D's nuts, love that name, is back in the house. Big good day, peeps. Yes, uh, Dragon D's nuts. Good day to you as well. Adrian saying Udogi had the ball caught under his feet for a goal, but Udogi shouldn't have to find himself on the left side of the penalty area. That means someone wasn't doing that job. Um, Shanata saying, OMG, did you see Porro saw and replied to a tweet that talked about Tim Sherwood's criticism of Pedro Porro? What you're talking about, Shanata, is this. And you can see his reply there in the corner. Um, Sorry, it's like on my phone that I took a screenshot, so it's a little unclear, but you can see it. But yeah, what a G. Uh, Daniel is saying anyone going nuts about Poro's defending should soon be losing their shit if we lost his attacking ability capabilities. Yeah, absolutely. We would be playing a replay against Burnley in the FA Cup if it had not been for Poro's goal. I will say though, his final output, he needs to improve it. He had some 32 shots, missed shots before he managed to score that Burnley goal. So I'd like to see more output from him. Jishan is saying, Jishan, you're a new name in the chat. Welcome, Jishan. I hope you tune in, like, and subscribe. With Trent, we might concede 5, but definitely score 6. Yeah, are you a Liverpool fan? Oh, he says you'll never walk alone. Yes, clearly that has been confirmed. Ayush is saying Philip Lam or Danny Alves. Who was a better right back? Chang?
I would definitely go for Philip Lam, hands down. Not just as a right back, but for a captain, whether it's a skipper in the German national team or for Bayern Munich. Philip Lam, for me, was always the better right back. Although, if you talk in terms of his creative output going forward, maybe Danny Alves was the more robust and the more creative of the two when it comes to going forward. But in purely speaking of who is the better right back, Danny Alves for me all day long.
Philip Lam for you.
Oh, sorry, Philip Lam. Sorry.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, I'm getting mixed up. Yes, Philip Lam for me
Yeah.
as the better right back, not Danny Alves.
Yeah, I tend to think Philip Lahm as well, especially because at the time they were playing, the fullback role was very very different than it is right now. But I will say it is possible that in today's world, Danny Alves would be considered the better right back. Um, it's it's these things are a question of time. Um, So Daniel Lee is saying, if you say Lam, it falls into the character. Of course, he's better defensively, so I'm not answering. That is true. That is absolutely true. Um, Ayush is saying both were great in their prime, so I get confused and asked everyone. I would say Lam over Alves. I would say Lam. I feel like he was the more dependable defender than Alves was, and I rate that in defenders. All my favorite Spurs players have all been defenders, and we've had some great right backs. We've had Kyle Walker. Trippier's been a great right back, so we've had some good ones in the past as well. So I do think I would take Philip Lahm. Danny Alves was slightly faster than Philip Lahm as well, so that works out for him in today's game. Um, Swap is saying even if we spend 300 million at one window, we won't break our FFP schemes thanks to our conjuice, which means like someone who doesn't spend a lot, conjuice Enic group. Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Our conjuice Enic group did us a big favor. Swap. Um, so yeah, I feel like that covers most of the show. Chang, where can people find you?
I'm currently Eugene's co-host on Spursion TV. Although there aren't any shows lined up in the coming few days, but I've just received word from Mr. Eugene himself that he will be looking forward to setting up some shows, maybe by next week or at the very latest end of the month. Other than that, I am maybe considered a recurring guest here on Talk and Ball. Although my primary social media platform would be on Twitter. You can find me on Twitter at Chang Chin Seong at Twitter, which is where I am primarily. I'm also on Facebook, which is where I got to know Mr. David Shear and also a couple of other people here on Talk and Ball, as well as United Spurs of America. But yeah, Spursvision TV and also Twitter and Facebook. That's where I'm primarily at.
I'd like to thank everyone who gave in a super chat today. Adrian, big up. You're a massive goat for giving us super chat. Hiren for becoming a member. Thank you so much. And David Shear for gifting a membership to the Lucky Shinata. So, everyone, thank you so much for tuning in. Press the like on the way out if you haven't already, and subscribe. And if you're watching this on playback, make sure you hit the like and subscribe as well. um, I will, as always, we will play you out with the James Madison song.
My team has got James Madison. James Madison is what we need. Whoa, thank God we got James Madison. This kid plays ball like you would never believe.